AITA for cutting off my toxic MIL for attacking my wife while she was holding our son at his first birthday party? So title pretty much explains it all. So I 32M and my wife 28F threw a birthday party for our two youngest children since their birthdays are so close together. These events are usually held at a park, but being that her grandmother is in poor health, we opted to have the celebration at her home as she wanted to be there and said the children always make her feel better. Now my Mill is dating a man 12 years younger than herself. To put it plainly, he is a bum. He mooches off everyone around him, refuses to get a real job, and goes out of his way to do nothing but smoke weed and play Fortnite all day. The whole family hates him, to put it plainly. Now the day of the party everything seemed to be perfect. The kids were playing, both sides of the family and many of my lifelong friends and their kids showed up. It seemed like a perfect day. My then 3-year-old, being a bit clumsy in her excitement, fell and scraped her knee 3 times this day. The third time MIL yelled at her, snatched her up and halfway tossed her into the house, where she proceeded to fall on her face. My parents, seeing this, rushed over to help her and dry her tears. My mother then told me what happened and I promised to handle it. As I came out, she was then spanking our 2-year-old daughter. Something to note is our youngest daughter is diagnosed autistic. Being so, she doesn't understand a lot and she genuinely didn't understand discipline. Our therapist strictly discouraged physical punishments, spanking etc., as it wouldn't be understood and could emotionally damage her. At this point I intercepted her and took my youngest daughter into the house. I then returned after giving both girls a juice box and some cookies and told her I did not want anyone putting hands on my children, especially my autistic daughter. She argued that she was breaking things and needed to be taught a lesson. I offered to replace anything she damaged and was informed that she knew how to raise an autistic child better than any professional. Quack. It was then that I approached my wife and told her to get the children together as the party was dying down and basically over anyway. She then followed me inside to continue the argument. As we were getting the children and gifts together, my wife started backing my earlier stance. Her mother then started yelling at us, saying she knows what is best. At this point, grandmother asked us to please stop, as this was supposed to be a special day for the kids. I apologized for the fuss and said we were just going to go. This is when the bum walked in, putting his 2 cents in on an almost dropped issue. Being upset, grandmother demanded he leave the house as she couldn't stand him. It was then MIL tried to tell us he had nowhere to go. My wife, always having grandmother's back, proceeded to tell him off, letting out years of pent-up emotions she put aside to appease her mother. These words set MIL off. She stormed around the kitchen full sprint and attacked my wife, who was at the time holding my 1-year-old son. I stepped in between them, taking the blows myself while keeping my hands at my sides. My parents raised me not to put my hands on any women of value I intend on passing down to my own son. 3 different times she tried running in different directions, throwing a garbage can which I took to the crotch and handful of some type of food, I'm not sure exactly what, and finally grabbed a metal bowl ready to throw it. Thankfully another family member tackled her and held her back as we gather our children and left. This was the last interaction we ever had. It has been well over a year and the whole family has been begging us to forgive her. My wife and I refuse, as we both have grown up exposed to violence and want better for our own children. We agreed anyone who has presented themselves as a danger to our children will not be around them. She is not the only person we have cut off, and we refuse to compromise our children's safety. Multiple family members have asked why we can't just forgive and forget, while my parents and friends who have grown up with us support our decisions. AITA for putting my children's safety over their feelings?